Welcome in. This is the Second Cup Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and tonight is a recap episode for round 2 of the Ryder Cup, and a Ryder Cup that is nearly over. Greg DuCharme is here, joining me to break it all down. Greg Gers, hey, buddy boy.
Rick, my friend, if you thought yesterday was bleak, it didn't get any better today. Didn't get any better at all.
You have appropriately worn your black second cut shirt to this funeral of Team United States, because we are just a few points away from having this thing be officially over. It was another big day for Europe, a day that had plenty of, I don't even want to call it spice, plenty of drama, plenty of arguments, lots of intensity, but all of that intensity fueled what was just another dominating European pair of sessions.
The back of this shirt says, "And we're back." That part doesn't apply. It doesn't apply. I could have worn this backwards had things gone a little bit differently. But I think there were some mistakes in the Saturday foursome pairings. We talked about them last night. You know, you get yourself in a tough spot. It looks now, at least you could say now, it was a bad plan, and he kind of rolled that out again. Bryson and Cam Young was a really good pairing, and they won 4-2. The remaining 3 pairings were identical to the day before, and we lost all of them.
Same plan, same result. Two days in a row, 2 mornings in a row. Let's address the fan stuff first, because if you are chronically online, like many of us, that is probably going to be the dominating thing that you saw from Saturday. You're going to see Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Rose, Greg Bodine, who is Bryson DeChambeau's caddy, Tommy Fleetwood's cat, like everybody getting into it. You're going to see Rory and Shane Lowry jawing with fans. You're going to see and hear about some pretty nasty, potentially disgusting stuff that it was said out at Bethpage Black. That I don't know what like average golf fans will take away from Saturday, but those of us who are chronically online, that will definitely be what the takeaway from Saturday is.
Yeah, and ultimately, this is a perfect storm if you think about it, because you look at the scoreboard and it's very one-sided. And so why would you act, why would you get really upset? And why would it be really tense and fiery? Like, you would think that when it's really high and tense and everybody's on edge, it's really close and it's really tense. In this case, it's not. But the team that's dominating on the scoreboard is also getting heckled all day long. I mean, in some cases, look, I heard some jeers. You don't know what they're saying. If you're watching on TV, you have no clue. I've seen things online like this is some of the worst behavior I've ever seen. So with some of the things that they're saying, specifically to Rory and Shane Lowry, it was very clearly a tense situation. So they're hearing that all day long, and then there's a chippiness from the American side as they're getting beat and they don't like it, and tempers flare. It's too bad that the fans are acting that way. I mean, the craziest part about this is if this were a PGA Championship or a U.S. Open, Rory McIlroy would be the most popular player there.
Yes.
At least top 3.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden he puts out a Team Europe jersey and you think you can just say whatever you want to him? Like, I get, go cheer for the Americans. Like, cheer for European misses. That's the one difference. But you can't say whatever you want.
Here's my take, and I will speak. I have been out there this week, so I will speak directly from experience on this. At best, the comments have been R-rated, right? If this was a movie, it would be rated R for, crude language and sexual phrases and whatever else, right? It would be rated R. Now you can decide whether that's crossing a line. There are kids there. I don't know. Maybe some people think taking your child to a sporting event is like taking him to an R-rated movie. I don't know. That's not really for me to decide. I don't care. The two ways it crosses the line are if you're doing it during the golf swing or during the backswing or during the process or whatever. That is now entering into competitive integrity, right? Which we want the sport to be, have high competitive integrity. And the other thing in which it had crossed the line frequently towards Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, and many others, not just today, but all week long, is when you start talking about their families and their wives and their children. And I heard it dozens of times. That's already bad enough. The wives are out there, Greg. I mean, they are hearing it too. So you are essentially now heckling an innocent bystander who is not even an athlete in the sport that you are watching. It is big time loser mentality, and it was rampant. It was not a one-off thing. It is not being overblown by what you're reading on the internet. It is happening constantly.
And that's really too bad. Now, first and foremost, if you go to a Sunday night football game, I can understand I can understand thinking maybe I shouldn't bring my kids to this.
Yeah.
It's an 8:20 game. First of all, they probably have bedtime. Second of all,
and it's a school night.
It's a school night. Yeah. Most of the time. Second of all, it's really late. People are going to be rowdy. They're going to be you're going to hear some stuff. Okay. See, I kind of have that expectation. And when I was a kid and went to sporting events, I heard some crazy things. And it's kind of, at some point, it's entertaining, but it's minimal. And you know that if you're going to a hockey game or a football game. You go to a golf event, there's a term called a golf clap.
Right. It's not even a real clap.
It's not even a real clap. It's a silent clap. It's that respectful.
Right.
That's the idea. So, my kids went out there on Tuesday, albeit it's a practice round day, but they were there. And if it weren't so hectic and if my wife wanted to, quite frankly, I would say, yeah, bring them out for a competition day. Like, we all have a great time. I wouldn't be thinking this is probably going to be an inappropriate environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. And then when it gets to the personal stuff you mentioned, I mean, thank goodness you can't hear this on TV because it is on NBC. I don't know if you could put rated R stuff on NBC in the middle of the day. I don't know if that's even allowed. So fortunately, you can't hear much of that stuff. But it happens all the time where if players say things like that, they get fined or they lose sponsors. Like, things go very wrong. Players in this tournament have been penalized severely for saying things far more appropriate than what you're talking about.
Indeed. I mean, listen, if you've been around golf long enough, Justin Thomas has lost a sponsorship over something that I heard dozens of times today. Right? Like that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So it's too bad. Because I'm almost glad that the outcome is the way it is, because our fans acted in this way, which is so disturbing. And if the U.S. won, it's a bad look for the Americans. It's a bad look for the American players.
Agreed.
Right? Like, I hear things from Lee Westwood on Twitter or Graham McDowell on Twitter about Ian Poulter. That's really who I was thinking of. He says, you hear the stupidest things from American fans. It's like, well, why do we say stupid? Why do we have to act that way and prove them right? Whether it's only in America or not, it becomes irrelevant because you're just giving them so much ammunition in that department. It's bad.
It is bad. Don't contribute to the loser mentality. Don't be an idiot. You can cheer, you can boo, you can do whatever you want. Don't cross the line. Golf was played. Lots of golf was played. Lots of blue points on the board. Let's start with the opening session. It was Friday, foursomes, again, alternate shot. And as we spoke about last night when we got these pairings, it looked very similar to what we saw on Friday morning. The difference, Cam Young and Bryson DeChambeau go out against Matt Fitzpatrick and Ludwig Oberg, and the Bash brothers, that's the working title for this pair, convincingly win 4-2. Bryson has been the spark plug, and Cam Young has been one of the better players for the United States this week.
I loved this pairing. I wanted this pairing in the first session. I thought that Cam Young was the perfect guy to pair with Bryson DeChambeau. Being a New York kid with his experience at Bethpage Black and his recent form, you kind of combine all these things together. And he's a very viable candidate to get a lot of playing time. Then you think of DeChambeau as a playing partner. And even in foursomes, you end up with two of your best players out there who play the same shot shape, who play similar styles of golf. Right, go ahead. And I know Bryson's very unique in many ways, but go out there, hit it really far, and make a lot of putts. They both do that, and it was very clear this combination worked in alternate shot. They made, 6 birdies in 16 holes, which is a lot. And they took down Matt Fitzpatrick and Ludwig Oberg, who made 4 of their own in 16 holes. They didn't give this one away. They did make a couple bogeys, but it was a dominant performance from like the best pairing decision Keegan Bradley's made all week.
Yeah, by far. The worst pairing decision that Keegan Bradley has made all week is Harris English and Collin Morikawa, not once, but now twice. And they went out again in match number 2 against Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood. I followed this group for quite a long time this morning, and of course, the result was the same. A convincing victory despite a few late American wins on holes 14 and 15. This was finished on hole 16. Tommy Fleetwood was unstoppable in the morning. He might have been better in the afternoon. There was a moment on, I want to say it was like 11, I think I was on, when, finally Collin Morikawa hits one tight, and you just have this sinking feeling that Tommy Fleetwood is going to hit one tight. And not only does he do that, he hits the stick, flags it, drops down, almost goes in. I mean, the Americans did not hit a lot of great shots. Anytime they did, Tommy Fleetwood put on his cape and hit a better one. These two are unbelievable.
They're unbelievable. And they're an optimized pairing. I know there's so much attention about Harris English and Collin Morikawa being the worst statistical possibility according to the guys at Data Golf. And I said last night that if there was something that Keegan was going on with this, giving these guys another chance is I don't agree with it, but I can understand it to a degree. And the other caveat to that is I have no clue what he was going on. My guess is it's like, oh, well, they're both good drivers, and then Collin Morikawa hits it close, Harris English makes the putt, right? A good iron player and a good putter. I mean,
sure.
But on the other half of the holes, you have a bad iron player with a bad putter. So, I think there are a lot of holes in that. They put them out. He put them out again. To their credit, they did make 5 birdies. They looked better, and they ran into simply a buzzsaw. I think that this actually turned out to be a great stroke of luck once the pairings were made that English and Morikawa played Fleetwood and McIlroy, because it's likely that McIlroy and Fleetwood were going to beat anybody. I don't necessarily believe that's 100% true, but you could say, all right, well, maybe it's not such a bad thing because these guys are just playing. That's how well they were playing.
Yeah, it was okay. So how we always talk about X happens and then the floodgates open, right? Guy finally wins, floodgates open. It almost never happens. The only scenario it's ever really happens in is Scottie Scheffler wins once and then he wins 4 times in 6 starts and he hasn't stopped winning since. There is a lot of very short-term evidence. I'm living in the moment right now that Cam Young, after winning the Wyndham Championship, is about to go absolutely nuts. And Tommy Fleetwood, after snapping off at the Tour Championship, is about to go absolutely nuts.
I mean, can you believe that the thing about Tommy Fleetwood's strange, but can you believe this guy couldn't win?
He looks like
For
he
years.
is unfazable now. He looks like nothing could possibly phase him.
It's sensational. And I'm really happy for him because I respect his game. The other fascinating thing about it is, like, I don't know if this is evidence of floodgates or just evidence of European Ryder Cup magic, because he was 4-0 at this point in Paris. That was in 2018.
Yeah.
7 years ago. So, he's a Ryder Cup legend. And I do think you'll see an uptick in his performance on the PGA Tour, at least as far as wins are concerned. But it really just has to go that way. He's better, but he was really good before too, which is kind of scary.
I'll have to run the numbers. He's starting to get into historically great Ryder Cup record range. Guys with X number of matches played, whatever it is. It's good. We'll see what it is at the end of the week, but it's starting to get to that point. Jon Rahm, from one legend to another. Jon Rahm also getting into that point. I think Rahm might have lost like his first 2 matches in Ryder Cup history and is like 9-0-1 since then or something completely outrageous. But Jon Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton in a pretty crucial match beat Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. This was a battle of 2 really experienced teams that have played together in a lot of international competition, who have played a lot of formats together. It was fairly tight. It was either 1-up or tied for the vast majority of this match. And then Europe pulled away and closed this thing out on number 16.
This is one statistically that's very tight. In fact, Rahm and Hatton were slight favorites, but it's basically neck and neck. Could go either way. And that's just looking at what these guys do on a regular basis, and the way they were, having Schauffele and Rahm on the odd holes for each team. They were basically a pick 'em by the numbers. And then you add in both of their experience in Ryder Cup history, and this is a absolute heavyweight battle.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, which is, again, the theme of the day, all 3 birdies that the Americans made were matched by Rahm and Hatton. And Rahm and Hatton added 4 more on their own to win this thing, 3-2.
So those are the first 3 matches. The 4th and final match, the Americans absolutely needed. They're running out Scottie Scheffler and Russell Henley once again against what you'd probably argue is, at least in this session, maybe not, I don't know, is one of the weaker European match pairings. Not that it's weak, but it's Viktor Hovland and Robert McIntyre. That's a new pairing this time. They'd not played together in previous Ryder Cups. And you've got to think, Greg, at some point, Scottie Scheffler is going to turn into the number 1 player in the world. He was 0-2 on Friday. There's certainly no way he and Russell Henley are going to lose again. Well, they did. And at no point did they ever lead in this match. It was tied after the first hole. It was tied after the 13th hole. Viktor Hovland gave us a few full-on, full throttle, maybe the biggest fist pumps I've ever seen out of Viktor Hovland, with some putts that he made down the stretch to either win holes or have holes. And Europe takes it the distance, but wins this one up.
If you look at the approach play numbers from this session, Scottie Scheffler was, I guess that's not true, but I thought Scottie Scheffler looked really good. I must be thinking of the Fourball session, which I am. But anyway, in the foursomes in the morning, I thought Scheffler looked good. They made a nice adjustment here and put Scheffler on the odd holes, which I think is a really big deal. Um, and and they went out and they made 6 birdies, right? They played really well. They made a bogey at number 5. Europeans made a bogey as well, but it's too much from McIntyre and Hovland. And this is where the Europeans just they have an edge because, like you said, McIntyre and Hovland are a new pairing. Last time in Rome, they won foursomes 7-1. You would think they just roll out the same 4, but they don't. And it's clear to me that they don't even look at what happened in 2023 to make their pairings this year. They go to the data. What does the data say? And the data says, well, you stick with Rory and Tommy, you stick with Hatton and Rahm, but instead of Lowry, who's not playing to the level that he was in Rome, and you instead of Lowry, you add in Matt Fitzpatrick, and you add in Bobby McIntyre. Mm-hmm. There's one other guy Sepp Straka, who wasn't playing nearly as well. So those guys are going to move up into the foursome session. And even though they're all on the same team, we've altered half of our foursome pairings because that's what the data says to do. And what you get is Robert McIntyre and Viktor Hovland believing that they're in the best possible pairing.
Right.
Which is an amazing thing. And they look up at the board and they see blue everywhere. And they want to be a part of it. You know, it becomes inspiring. It's brilliant that they're in the 4th session. You get, all right, well, let's put Lowry out there. I'm sorry. Let's put Oberg and Fitzpatrick, who were buzzsaw, out there first. Then we'll go with our strongest 2 in the middle. And we're going to have blue on the board. And then our weakest pairing is going to be inspired by what's taking place in front of them. It's a very strong move. And they go on and take down Scottie Scheffler and Russell Henley that look quite good. I mean, you'd love to see the putt go on 17 for Henley. You'd love to see that one go. So Hovland didn't get that moment with a huge fist pump where he may have hurt himself.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a few minutes here. So there's a very famous quote about insanity and, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And while Saturday foursomes looked incredibly similar to Friday foursomes, we did indeed get the same result, a 3-1 session victory for Team Europe to put a stranglehold on this. So, last night, Greg, foresight was, this is not good. Hindsight, this is not good, right? I mean, bleak is putting it very kindly, even at this stage of the championship.
Well, if you look at our grid for the week, we all had Europe winning.
Yeah.
We all had a European as the top point getter. I think that we could see this coming. Just from listening to press conferences and watching, and honestly, my opinion didn't really have much to do with the players. It had to do with the captains and just trying to get a sense of what they're going to do. And the things that I was hearing from the American side were concerning to me. And it was things that basically were saying, without saying it, we are not looking at information. And you know that the Europeans aren't going to make a mistake in that case. They are going to be perfectly optimized. And they were again. And it's been a brilliant performance by Luke Donald. And it's not a surprise. It was a brilliant performance last time, and it worked in Rome. And guess what? They give him another run. Paul McGinley said on the broadcast, this is a whole new look at how we approach away matches. One of the things he specifically mentioned was we kept putting rookie captains in away Ryder Cups.
Right.
My concern is that, this These American teams in the future are going to be facing very well prepared European teams, well coached, if you will, European teams, wherever they play them.
Another session win. So again, the United States has not led after any session since Whistling Straits. That was 4 years ago at this point because of the fast start for Europe and of course the eventual win in Rome, and then now this complete and utter fast start that we have here. Before we get to the afternoon sessions, a couple of quick housekeeping items. I did run into more second cutters today, which is great, like Mark here, and stopped and took a couple selfies. That was all good. If you are tuning in right now, hit the subscribe button for us. We do this like 3 times a week and talk about this state of professional golf with recap episodes and previews very, very regularly. So do that. The other thing is, let me put a bow on the fan conversation, because Jack says, Rick, 2 years ago, the Euro fans were saying the same shit. I can only talk to you from my experience here, Greg. I'm going to tell you exactly what I heard at Bethpage. I was in Rome. I can tell you there was nothing that elevated to anything that I heard this week. Nothing. Not
well, I mean, were the chants in Italian?
Yeah, they do speak a lot of English over there. That's weird. Just truly nothing. No vulgarity. No, I mean, listen, they use different words more loosely than we do, but it is just mostly chants and positive cheers. And I have been in both the last 2 Ryder Cups, so I don't know what that is my sense of it. That is my feeling of it. You can believe me or not, I don't care, but like that's my sense of
it. The last thing I'll say is, it doesn't really matter what they do. Right? There's a standard that we as Americans need to hold ourselves to, and this is not it. Right? Even if they could have said worse things in Europe. Well, are we gonna up the ante and say so? The players aren't saying worse things. We're gonna take out what their fans did in Italy 2 years ago, and we're gonna try to one up them by talking to their players. It's not a fair fight. It doesn't make any logical sense to me at all. Don't do that. Cheer, chant, come up with some better chants. Make it funny. The goal here isn't to hurt anybody's feelings, which I know that this isn't what it's all about, but it's just a matter of being respectful and remember the game that we're watching here is golf. Let's act like golf fans.
Well, Friday afternoon Fourball started with one of the most popular golfers in the world, 103 weeks out of 104, with Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry going up against Justin Thomas and Cam Young. Cam Young continued to play very well. Justin Thomas contributed as well. This was very, very tight. It went the distance. This is the match that had a lot of the broadcast focus on the fan behavior. To JT and Cam Young's credit, they were trying to, at the very least, just don't do anything while the guys are hitting their shots. Like that's pretty clear, which is what the American side was trying to do here. The result of the match, though, goes in favor of Team Europe. A lot of emotional putts and outbursts, and these guys have to be exhausted after this match.
From the sounds of it on the broadcast, Rory was getting absolutely hammered out there. And
yeah, he was.
Now, this is the beauty of this team, right? Again, we talked about the 4-ball strategy yesterday. You're worried about Shane Lowry, put him with Rory McIlroy. Worried about Justin Rose, put him with Tommy Fleetwood. Worried about Sepp Straka, let's put him with Jon Rahm. Right now, all of a sudden, we got great teams with guys that we're worried about. But in this case, Shane Lowry said, I am going to step up here. And he steps up in a big way. Shane Lowry made 6 birdies and an eagle on his own ball. And I have to imagine that was for his buddy Rory, who is just I actually didn't think Rory played very poorly. Rory had Rory had some birdie putts inside of Shane Lowry, and Shane just made them first.
Yeah, that's true.
So it wasn't a poor performance. You look at the scorecard, and you only see 2 birdies from Rory, albeit they're on 14 and 16. Lowry birdies 15, 17, and 18. So here we go again. Europeans as a team make birdies on the last 5 holes. And they had 2 more birdies on the front 9 and an eagle. Really difficult to beat. So Justin Thomas was into this one. He wanted it. Cam Young played very well again. I was so impressed with Cam Young this week. I hope he wins his singles tomorrow.
Should have went all 5, Gregor. Should have went all 5.
Well, at least both the foursome sessions.
Yeah.
Probably all 5, but if he needed to start. He needed to start, in my opinion. So super impressed with him. JT impressed me as well. The shot he hit on 17.
So good.
It was so good. And you needed it. I thought he was going to hole it. It's like, this would be such a Justin Thomas thing to make this right now. And he almost did.
Unbelievable stuff. They get out of there. He hits it to a tap in, gimme birdie, but only get out of there with a tie on 17. If you thought what Tommy Fleetwood did in the morning was good, let's discuss what he did in the afternoon, because he and Justin Rose, I mean, they were on the verge of breaking 60 here in a best ball. I mean, they were how many under par in 16 holes that they played, Greg?
11.
11 under in 16 holes. This was about as good of golf as you are going to see on this stage, is what we saw from Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose in their 3-2 victory over Scottie Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau.
And again, Tommy Fleetwood has been the horse for Team Europe, right? He's put them on the back. He's played the first 3 sessions. He's probably exhausted. Apparently, he's hearing it from the crowd too.
Yes.
And his buddy, his mate, Justin Rose, as they say, his mate, Justin Rose, goes out and says, Tommy, I got you. And he makes 6 birdies in the first 8 holes. Scottie Scheffler birdies 1 and 2.
Yeah, Scottie played a lot better. I mean, Bryson and Scottie were not the fact that the Europeans were 11 under, and this thing got to the 16th hole is unbelievable. The Americans played pretty well.
Scottie and Bryson are 4 under through 4 and tied. By the way, I counted 11 under. There's no score on number 4. That was made a birdie there too. Bryson hit it to tap in.
Right, you give him 2 putts for birdie or whatever on a par 5.
Right, they have to make eagles. So I mean, the score becomes irrelevant in situations like that. Bryson hit some big iron shots like that one. It's been a weakness for him. He steps up at 5, hits another big iron shot. Scottie Scheffler birdies 6. Right there, they're 6 under through 6 holes. And they're 1 up. They're tied after 7.
I have so much about this match. So this is the match. So all of the focus on Lowry and Rory and the crap they're getting from fans, the intensity gets turned up inside this match on hole 15 when Justin Rose is kind of getting into his process, about to approach his putt on the 15th green. And Bryson DeChambeau's caddy, Greg Bodine, kind of steps forward, like into the line. Now, if you're thinking I've heard this story before, this is basically kind of what happened in Rome when Joe LaCava was celebrating a putt that the U.S. had made, and he kind of lingers around into Rory's process. Like Rory's ready to go into the process, and LaCava's still doing his thing. This was a little bit different. I don't know if there was confusion about like whose turn it was, but Jibo walks into the line, and the only way to describe this is that Rosie shooed him away.
He was not happy about it.
Yeah.
And as Rosie, who by the way made that putt,
Of course he did.
like he made everything. Rosie said afterwards it was his putt, and they got close to the line and then came back and got close to the line. It's not that they were stepping in the line, but I think you said it best. They were encroaching on the process of the putt. So he's got to back off, and he's like, hey, a little space here. He actually said that afterward. If I should have said, excuse me, please, that's on me.
Yeah, it didn't look like he said, excuse me, please. It looked like he said, hey, mate, beat it in a few other words.
But as you would expect from Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose, after they won 3-2 over Bryson DeChambeau and Scottie Scheffler, two of our best players, arguably our two best players, who arguably should not have been paired together in this session.
That's another one of my notes that we need to get to.
They took the high road at the end, and I don't think there's any hard feelings going on. Or they in the interview were both very much of, hey, this is water under the bridge now. Things get tense in a match like that, and we're all good.
It escalated pretty quickly. Rose makes the putt. Bryson makes his on top, stares straight at Rose. And then as they're walking to 16, the caddies are jawing at each other. Francesco Molinari interjects himself into the conversation. And we are getting some pretty strong audio on the 16th tee of the boys trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong until they all...
Teddy Scott involved.
Ted Scott is in Frankie's face. Right? I mean, this is like, they're yelling. It's heated. They're not telling each other how much they love each other in the moment. They agree finally on the 16th tee to let's play, but you could tell there was still some animosity. I'll tell you what, they all pumped their drives on 16. Those guys were freaking amped.
Yes. Totally amped. In a match that's, the Europeans are 3 up with 3 to go.
Right.
And it feels like this is tied and everything's on the line. It's crazy how much, how emotional these cups are and how much they believe, the players believe that they're still in it, even when you look up at the board and you're like, this is over.
Yeah,
it's never mail it in.
That match is dormy. And they're ready to cut each other's throat for half a point.
I want that half a point.
Yeah,
it's mine. Give it to me.
Does anybody play the heel better than Justin Rose, who makes a putt and just like looks like he kind of shrugs, like expect anything different? Like what did you expect? He gives you like that little like the pursed lip, it's just like he's so annoyingly cool.
He is. It's a good way to put it. He's annoyingly cool. But the only reason it's annoying is because I'm rooting for the Americans.
Yeah.
If I was rooting for Europe, he'd be a hero, because he has done this his entire career. The amazing thing about him too is he has a ridiculously good Ryder Cup record, specifically in foursomes. But they determine that he's better now in Fourball. So they never get attached to old ideas. It's what's right in front of us now. And then the players at the same time buy into what their captain says is the plan. Justin Rose doesn't say, have you seen my foursomes record? You're going to leave me out of four. He says, no, whatever you need, captain. Yeah, sure. I'll go make 8 birdies against Bryson DeChambeau and Scottie Scheffler. I'll quiet the crowd for you. I'll do it in any session you need me. And they all act that way.
So you are absolutely right in the fact that Scottie Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau at this stage of the championship should like never be paired together. And the reason that I say that, and I'm assuming the reason that you're on board with this, is these are your two best players. You need as many points as possible. They are playing their own golf ball. You put them in two separate groups. You hope each of them go absolutely nuts, and you try to get 2 points. You can't put your two best players in a position where they can only earn one combined point in a session. That is Ryder Cup pairing 101. That is elementary stuff. And I know what you could say. They're down $1 million. They're trying something new. There is still only a finite number of points that is going to be awarded. You need to embrace variance. You need to say, we need everything to go perfect for us over these final two sessions. There is just no possible way you can put these guys in the same group.
No. If you're going to do that, you do it in foursomes.
Right.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't, but
yeah, this is specific. Again, to be very clear, this is specific to Fourball.
And they are very different formats.
Yes.
That's why you don't see Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood play together in Fourball ever.
Right. Why would you?
If you did in the past, they were very different players. And, you know, Tommy Fleetwood's place on the team was not what it is now. Like top 3 guy kind of a thing. So it's just the one pick that I thought was kind of panicky. Like we talked about, we're going to stick to the plan. If this was in the plan, if they ever wrote this down before this session, we got a lot of rethinking to do as as a country. Okay.
As a
we
country.
got a lot of rethinking to do. If this was just a emotional panic button play, I see how that happens because you're getting smoked and you need to win 4 points and you don't know how to do that. Because it's Fourball. You're not going to win 4 points in Fourball is crazy. It's very even. Matches are usually much tighter, and the spread, like the spread in Fourball, 2 of the last 3 years has been a tie. Right. Between the teams. Right. It's always decided by a point or 2 at the most. This is not where you win the Ryder Cup. And I guess the Europeans figured out a pretty good way to put a lot of points on the board.
I've got a working document here on my phone, and I'm going to try, and you might have to remind me of this for the next 2 years, but to blame all of this on Keegan Bradley. I think he's going to get he's going to be thrown under every bus for a very long time. Okay. Which is not 100% fair because the Europeans have just beaten the pants off of the Americans on the golf course, which it doesn't matter who the captain was. A lot of this would not matter what the pairings were. But I have a running document here of 5 things that I think were objectively bad in the moment, right? It's also not fair to look back at it and say, oh, okay, hindsight says that was a bad idea. It's we knew these were pretty bad immediately and they still happened. And this is stuff that is inexcusable. So here's my running brainstorm. Let me know how many of these you think are fair or not.
Yeah.
Number 1, not picking himself. Okay. Number 2, playing Colin and English together. Number 3 is playing Colin and English together again. Okay, so those are 2 separate strikes.
Yeah, 2 and 3 I'm 100% on. I think 1 is probable, but I put the blame somewhere else for that.
Okay. We just discussed this is what sparks my playing Scottie and Bryson together in Fourball, which that sparked. So that was another one. And then I don't know if we discussed this or not. Having Henley tee off on the odd holes. Okay, Patrick McDonald.
We did last night.
We did talk about this. Okay.
Yeah.
This is all you need to know. If that this is, we don't even need to get like, if you don't understand what holes or whatever, do you think you should have Russell Henley and Bryson DeChambeau teeing off on the same holes? Those two guys are the farthest ends of the spectrum away from each other. They are both teeing off on the same holes. If that's happening, you are probably doing something wrong. And that's what they're doing.
Yes. These are all fair. Now, this is a rare case. I don't put all this blame on Keegan Bradley for a couple reasons. One, I think he ran into a buzzsaw, which is not an accident. This isn't like random, it just happens. Right? The Europeans have been developing a script for years. At the very least, from what I can see, what I've heard, the research that I've done, digging through their decision making, this script has been getting just gradually built for at least 15 years, probably longer. But I can say it's 15 years at least. So that's a big deal. Now, the Europeans come at this with, like, we are going to win an away Ryder Cup. There's a very clear mission here with a strong team. The last two away Ryder Cups, they didn't have a very strong team with their players. They come back with a captain, again, who's done this before in a home environment with essentially the same team. And by team, I don't mean just the 11 players that were also in Rome, but 4 of the 5 assistant captains.
Yeah, and like the support, there's like 40 guys that go, and they've got it
Paul
like
McGinley.
All figured out. Yeah, exactly.
Right. They got it all. They know what they're doing. We come back with Jim Furyk, who has a very questionable Ryder Cup record, although it's extensive. You know, he's been on every team since 1999. If he wasn't on in 97, he's been a part of every team since 1999. Our record is not very good in that time period. So we have experience, but it's now looking like it's going to be 11 losses as part of that experience and only 6 wins. So it's very questionable at best. And then you bring in Kevin Kisner, you bring in Gary Woodland, great guys, but you bring in Webb Simpson, who I actually understand. I think Webb's a really good candidate to bring into the party. But this is like totally new. And they're going up against a not totally new, like fully developed. Like this is like children against grown men.
A toddler versus grown men. This is like when LeBron was playing in high school.
Yes.
And he was just dribbling over top of children's heads and dunking on them.
They are not going to mess up. So Keegan is home and has a home field advantage and has to be perfect to make this tight. So I give a lot of respect to the Europeans. And I don't think that Keegan was prepared for this. And I don't know why we expect him or other players to be. Like, these are professional golfers, and we think they're going to make great captains. And if they fail, they get ridiculed. Like, I think the Zach Johnson ridicule is very unfair. You know, he didn't do a great job as a captain, but why do we expect him to? It's Zach Johnson. He's a golfer. Now he's going to become some savant leader. It's a miracle it happened for Luke Donald, because he is like a savant leader. So I don't. When I point out these mistakes, it's not to rag on Keegan Bradley. It's to rag on the American Ryder Cup system or lack thereof. Because there's no program. They could write a book about it. They probably have one.
I think there probably is a book. Yeah.
Right? They just pass it on. Hey, this is what you do. This is what you're looking for. They got Eduardo Molinari in there. And they just say, build the pairings.
Right.
And he says, okay. And the players say, yes, sir.
Right.
Wait, you are in the best possible pairing. Well, how does that make you feel as a player?
Makes me feel good.
This team is completely optimized.
They even have nap rooms, Greg. They have nap rooms in there. Quiet rooms. Smart. Sometimes I need that.
They got a weight room in there that puts Gold's Gym to shame. During for the 3-day competition. You know, they won this Ryder Cup at every step.
I want to get to some of these questions that are coming in. So if you have some more, run them through. But let's. There are still 2 matches to go here in this Friday afternoon. Sepp Straka and John Rahm go out against JJ Spaun and Xander Schauffele. I was very high on JJ Spaun this week. We have seen bursts of greatness, not a lot of really good play, but he did come alive in this match, number 3 here. The Americans win holes 17 and 18. They win this match 1-up. It is the first full point that they got in this session, and that puts them over the mark where now all of Team USA finally has more points than Tommy Fleetwood does.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
This was a great performance for JJ Spaun down the stretch. Birdies 4 holes on the back 9, really hit it quite nicely on the front 9 and couldn't get anything to go. Xander contributed nicely on the front 9, even sprinkled in some nice birdies of his own on the back. So, you know, they put together a strong back 9 because this was, without these two, this was going to be, well, more embarrassing than it already is.
The final match of Saturday Fourball, I think I probably said Friday 5 or 6 times in a row. Obviously, this is Saturday. Saturday Fourball is Terrell Hatton, Matt Fitzpatrick, Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay. This was tied for the first 8 holes. Nobody won any of the first 8 holes. Every single hole was tied. The Europeans won hole 9. Then it was 10, 11, 12, and 13 were all tied. 14 was won by the Americans. So now the entire match is tied. And they tied 15, 16, and 17 before Matt Fitzpatrick and Terrell Hatton won hole 18. So an 18-hole match in which only 3 individual holes were won. 2 of them were won by the Europeans, including the last to put them over the edge.
Critical shots, Matt Fitzpatrick on 9 and 10. Those birdies were huge because it gets him 1-up for the first time. 10 keeps them 1-up. And then in the last 5 holes of this match, which had only seen like 5 birdies through the whole day, which is a low count in this format. 5 birdies through 13 holes. Both teams make 4 in the last 5 holes. The Americans at 14, they both teams birdie 15, 16, and 17. Are you kidding me?
So good.
Hatton for the Europeans and Cantlay for the Americans. And then on 18, Cantlay hits a shot that I thought was just perfect coming down, and it just rips off the green. And that was after Hatton and Fitzpatrick hit literally perfect shots to a foot, and their golf balls touched on the, you know, they hit the exact same shot to the same place, a foot away from the flag.
What a way to end it. Both balls 1 foot away from the cup, literally touching each other on 18.
Yeah, totally unnecessary, but just salt in the wound.
Couple of items here, and I got a couple of questions queued up for us. But so this puts the bow on, and I'm still kind of waiting to see if we can get Sunday singles pairings out yet. So this puts the bow on another 3-1 session and an 11.5 to 4.5 European lead, which you're seeing at the top of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. There is no service out there, Greg. So color me very, very surprised when I was standing on the third green waiting for this group to come through and seeing that Terrell Hatton was playing instead of Viktor Hovland, who was the originally announced player in match number 4. It was going to be Hovland and Fitzpatrick against Sam Burns and Patrick Cantlay. Hovland went to the range, or actually seemed like he tweaked the neck in his morning match, played through it, went to the range, got a little treatment at the turn, went to the range between matches, and decided not worth the risk. I need to be good for Sunday singles. And the rules state that even after announced, you can replace a golfer who had not already been picked for that session. So Hatton does get picked in here, but there's now kind of this lingering question about what the status of Viktor Hovland is going to be for Sunday singles.
Do they have to be hurt to do that? To replace?
That's a good question, because how would you know?
Because
how would
you could, in theory, just throw parades out there and then
see what they do.
Yeah, right.
The only problem with that is you can only replace it with guys you haven't thrown out yet.
But you don't put Bryson, Scottie.
Oh, you save them.
You save your 4 best players, sit them. Everybody goes, and then you replace them where you want them.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Fortunately, we don't do that.
That would only work once, because they would immediately change the rule for that in the following.
Maybe we should have done that for Saturday morning.
Yeah, seriously. So that's now. This is not a tight competition. Obviously, the Europeans are minus 3,500, lay 3,500 to win 100 to win this Ryder Cup. They are going to need just 2.5 points to retain the cup. They only need 14 to retain because they won it in Rome, but seems like they're going to get a lot more than that. There is this bizarre envelope rule, however, that only comes into play like once every decade, and we might get it to come into play tomorrow. So, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the way this works is before Sunday, before the Ryder Cup starts.
Before the Ryder Cup starts, I'm 90% on that.
Okay. Each captain writes down a name and seals it in an envelope. And what happens is, if a player is unable to play on Sunday because of injury, the other team would open up the envelope, and whatever name is in there, that is who would have gotten matched up, and they would each get a 0.5 point. So the way this would work is, if Viktor Hovland cannot go on Sunday, Keegan Bradley, they will reveal Keegan Bradley's name in his envelope, and let's say it's Ben Griffin, who has not played a lot this week. Ben Griffin would not play in singles. Ben Griffin would get 0.5 point. Viktor Hovland would get 0.5 point. So really, if Viktor Hovland doesn't play, Europe is up to 12 points, and they only need 2 more. But
right.
This is kind of a really awkward thing, because the strategy here is you're putting your worst golfer in the envelope, and now it's going to be revealed to the world the captain's last pick.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, for sure. Now, it's not if it is the last guy taken, but that's not going to be Sam Burns on that list. It better not be. That would be a huge mistake.
It'd be another on my list.
It needs to be like Colin Morikawa. I guess I wouldn't have said Ben Griffin before.
It's gonna be JJ Spawn, and that's gonna be a huge mistake.
I hope it doesn't happen. JJ Spawn was second on the points list.
I know, but the way they've used him this week, and like Keegan has this weird thing about rookies. It's gonna be a rookie in there. It's gonna be either Ben Griffin or JJ Spawn.
Add it to your list, Rick. Sit in 3 rookies and your last guy picked in the first session. Add it to the list. Seriously, there's like no reason to do that, and it led to suboptimal pairings.
Let me ask you a couple other questions. because this is such a weird thing. So this is such a like a secret process that a lot of times I think if this doesn't get used, they burn the envelopes. Like no one ever knows who. It's not like Deal or No Deal where they are going to eventually reveal it no matter what. It's like burning the last briefcase in Deal or No Deal. They're just like not ever going to show it. So that is very bizarre. What happens if two guys can't play? Is the second guy a forfeit?
Yeah. Yes.
But then who sits for the other team?
I guess you'd have your choice.
So a public envelope.
That would be like a public envelope. But it's a win, so
it's a full point.
It's a full point.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that it's a half
like
point.
You might give that to Tommy Fleetwood just so he can go 5-0.
Yeah. Also, here's another little thing. Scottie Scheffler is on the verge of going 0-5, which is mind-bogglingly crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I don't think he's played that bad. I think has not played up to his standard for sure, but he played some pretty good golf and ran into a buzzsaw. We've seen him get better and better throughout the week.
Yeah.
The shot he hit on, was it 10? It was either 10 or 11 today, hit Fleetwood stuffed it. And I was saying, come on, Scottie, hole it. And all of a sudden, this ball goes ripping back. I'm like, how did it? Oh, it hit the flag. He nearly dunked it.
And it did not work out well for him. Like when Tommy wrapped it up in the flag on 11 or 10 or whatever that was. Justin Ray has a couple of very good Scottie Scheffler nuggets. So here's the complete list of players to lose a match in each of their first 4 sessions of a Ryder Cup. The complete list. Scottie Scheffler 2025, Peter Allis 1967. So this is unheard of. And
this is chronological order.
Yes. And I'm assuming that no one has ever gone 0-5. Because first off, you have to play all 5 sessions. You have to be good enough to play all 5 sessions. And as you continue to lose, continue to be run out there and then keep losing. It's almost impossible to even get this scenario. And that is on the table for tomorrow.
Like Rory McIlroy at Whistling Straits got sat Saturday afternoon.
Correct. Which is if you're a guy who is like earmarked to go all 5 and nothing's going right for you, you're getting boat raced, whatever, maybe you take Saturday afternoon off for a little bit of a regroup. So, but that's not what's happening here.
No. And I don't think you could do that as Keegan, although he obviously doesn't care what I think.
He's probably watching right now.
Oh my goodness. It's not a great look for Scottie Scheffler. Last time there was a home Ryder Cup, he had 0 wins on tour, and he went 2-0-1. Now you fast forward, he has 19 wins and 4 majors, and he's 0-5 in the next home Ryder Cup. Like, what is it? I don't know what it is with these guys. And these guys, I mean Tiger and Scottie.
Yes.
Which is crazy. It's and Europe. I think part of it is there's a target on his back. Right? You get Scottie Scheffler, and that is like,
yeah,
you got an opportunity.
This is like when you're like the top 10 college football team and you're getting everyone's best, right? Like when you roll into a game, everyone, it's their national championship game. It's their Super Bowl to play you. They're geared up for every single game, and you have to kind of defend that.
And then also, I was explaining this to my wife, who was like, she's declared Rory as the best golfer in the world now ahead of Scottie.
She might be right.
No way. I mean, you in a golf tournament, it's 72 holes, and over time, the longer, if you made every tournament 90 holes, I don't know if we could fathom what Scottie Scheffler's winning percentage would be. I really don't think it would be unbelievable. And then, so you just kind of add more time to it, and when it's cumulative, and Scottie dominates, like it becomes absurd. But you go to an 18-hole match that ends with a point after 18 holes, he could win a tournament by 5 and get beat by somebody in every round.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
he
that's
also
a feasible thing.
He also, in half of the sessions only hits half of the shots, which if you're Scottie Scheffler is not good. You want to hit all of the shots.
Yes. It's a big deal. It's like, so I've seen some really disappointing situations where, like, if you're a Scottie fan like me, where Tommy Fleetwood just rips your heart out time and time again. These are. Look at this match in the afternoon. I mean, it was crazy with Bryson and Scottie. I'm not talking about the pairing again. Just looking at the scores of the match. Like I said, they're 6 under through 6 and 1 up. They're 6 under through 7 and they're tied. Then they go 1 down. You're 6 under through 8 and you're losing.
Yeah.
And then you hit the shot of the day at 10, and so does Tommy Fleetwood. His ends up next to the flag, and yours ends up off the green because yours was just a little bit better. It's so hard to predict these things. Oh, and by the way, then the team you're trying to make a comeback on, after all that, they make birdie on their last 4 holes. Or 12, 13, 14, 15. They make birdie on all of them to put you away.
Here's the other Justin Ray stat. Scottie Scheffler's opponents this week have carded 34 birdies in 65 holes. So that is more than half of the holes they have played. To put that into perspective, Scottie Scheffler is the greatest birdie maker in the world on the PGA Tour. He ranks number 1. He makes birdie or better 27% of his holes. So his opponents this week have made birdie twice as frequently as he does as the best birdie maker in the world.
There's like that. I don't know what you do about that. I would love to have seen him go off on the odd holes in the first session with Russell Henley. I would have put him with Russell Henley. That was an optimal pairing, near optimal, right? That was a good idea. And
he's a nothing burger.
He's a nothing burger, I guess. Yeah, that's a comment from my wife. If you're not watching on YouTube, he's so far from a nothing burger. This just couldn't have gone any worse for him.
Jack says, Rick, you mentioned Henley would benefit the most from lift, clean, and place. Your thoughts? Yeah. That's not true. And the big thing is this. There is statistically almost no penalty for missing the fairway here. So it has that idea has been like, okay, if you're in the fairway, you get the added benefit of being in the fairway, which on a normal golf course is like a quarter of a stroke or whatever. And then, then you get the benefit of cleaning your ball. So it's like almost like a double benefit. There is just like no benefit to hitting the fairway here. And actually, in some cases, because of spin control, missing the fairway might be better.
Yeah, there's a little more chance, but basically, yes. They kept saying that on the broadcast, too. Like, they miss a fairway at 2. An advantage coming from the rough here.
That might be an example. That might be.
Well, it was a back flag.
Yeah.
And guys were ripping it. So,
yeah.
It's not every case an advantage to be in the rough. In certain cases, it may be. That's hard when this team. Look, I think when it comes to course setup, this is a difficult. I think both teams are suitable to play on a very hard golf course and a very easy golf course and anything in between. I don't think there's a lot you can do to set up the course to favor the Americans when you look at these teams statistically. I've seen some of that on paper, but it's like, how could you make this a putting contest? Well, the Americans are better putters statistically. I thought that was their biggest advantage. If you make it hard, you got U.S. Open champions on their team, U.S. Open champions on this team. You got accurate guys like Morikawa and Henley and Spawn and Scheffler. You got long guys like DeChambeau and Justin Thomas and Burns who are there's not an easy answer in the course setup. And that's just the way this team kind of shook out. And in large part because of how well some of the shorter hitters have played.
I need to add this one to my list. Tom is right, and Greg, you mentioned this yesterday and explained it beautifully. Another error is starting with foursomes instead of starting with Fourball. So Tom points that out. That's very good. How about this? How about what comparison can you give for how outmaneuvered Bradley has been versus Donald? Can be any sport. The first thing that popped into my head was the movie Moneyball, when like Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt, aka the Oakland Athletics, are just using a completely different set of things that say this is success and this is failure, and we're just going to reframe what we're trying to do, and you guys are just going to use the eye test and say who you think the best players are.
Yeah, it's a pretty good analogy. It's not as direct, like head to head. I think there are a ton of like football coaching examples of this.
Paul says Sean McDermott coaching against Andy Reid. That's over my head. I don't know who the good one and who the bad one is there, but like that's Paul's take.
That would be when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl against the Rams.
So Andy Reid's the
but I think like I think Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin, where like
okay, that one I get.
You know, Mike Tomlin just would always play zone against the Patriots, and Brady just shredded them every time they played. I mean, I'm not an expert on these kind of things, but that's basically like we play zone best on defense. They beat zone best. We're going to play zone.
We're just going to do it anyway.
That would be another example.
It is never too early to start thinking about a Dare Manor, as this Ryder Cup is not even finished yet. But if you were, so PGA of America calls you right now and says, Greg, we heard what you said on the second cut. We loved it. You are now solely in charge of choosing the captain for 2027, and you have to decide right now. And that person will accept, and that person will do it to the best of their ability. Who are you picking?
I'd hang up the phone.
Sorry, wrong number.
Well, here's the thing. There's no right answer right now.
The answer is Luke Donald. Can we get him? Can we trade for him?
Or maybe we go with like political back channels and make Spain no longer a part of Europe.
Yeah, we got to exile. Yeah, we got to exile Spain.
Spain can become a continent of its own.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And the reason is like this situation with Keegan Bradley has now become a one-off, in my opinion. I may say Keegan Bradley again. How about that? Maybe he learned. Maybe he learned.
Now they're hanging up the phone.
It's like we are in this. This is a one-off scenario. We are now at ground zero. There's nothing to go on. There is no logical choice. You go with Jim Furyk again while we like find somebody. We need a visionary. Okay. And I don't know who that is. Paul Azinger?
No.
Would he do it?
No.
He's so far removed from the players now, but would he do it? I don't know. Paul Azinger solved a different set of problems with a great solution. We have a different problem now that I think can be very easily solved. So I don't know who, maybe like who is a data-driven player. I feel like they all are. That's why this doesn't make any sense to me. Everybody understands data. They all used to lay up to their favorite number, and now they know because of data that they do better from 50 yards than 110, even if they like 110 shots more. They do better, so they hit it as close as they can. They hit driver everywhere because they know that that's going to suit them better. They don't hit draws on dogleg right to lefts. They hit their favorite shot shape. Data supports that. Like everything these guys do on tour. is based on data. It is data driven. All their strategic decision making is, and we're in the Stone Ages in the Ryder Cup.
Give me like what's that? Give me the guy who started lab golf. Sam, what's his name? Sam whatever.
Yeah, I don't know his last name.
Yeah, he's
I can't think of it.
Runs a outside the box thinking golf company that had to be nimble that he built from nothing. Give me that guy.
Sure. Why does it have to be a PGA Tour player?
Why does It doesn't even have to be anybody related to golf. It could be like, I always go back to Greg Popovich, who's probably too old for it now, but like Greg Popovich, give me him.
Butch Harmon.
Butch Harmon. Everybody loves Butch Harmon. He's just like the Whisperer.
Yeah. 8-9 says you and me.
I accept.
Let's do it. I mean, I think, Rick, you could build optimum pairings. In how long would it take you?
Way less than 2 years. I got time.
Could you, if it was a month before the Ryder Cup?
Yeah.
And you got a call, it said from the captain.
Yeah.
I need optimum pairings for foursomes.
Yeah. If they called me a month ago, I that would have been no problem. And it would have looked, and honestly, if Europe called me, it would have looked a lot like what Luke Donald did. He did a couple things differently, but yeah.
How many guys do you think could do that in a month in America? How many people?
10.
Are any of them in the running to be the captain of the Ryder Cup?
No.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. Okay. I am trying to. I don't know why these Sunday singles haven't come out yet, but I was trying to wait to see until we got those. Was Europe lucky that they had the same team from Rome? Is that? I mean, half the team auto qualifies.
Yes. Well, I'll say they're lucky that their best players are playing great, had great years. Maybe that's part luck. Maybe it's part inspiration, being a Ryder Cup year. So that's fortunate, right? You get Tommy Fleetwood coming in on a heater. Rory wins the career Grand Slam, and this is like the last thing on his list. That's fortunate. I wouldn't say lucky. The thing that's not lucky is choosing Luke Donald again, and Luke Donald choosing basically the same vice captains again. That team is not luck. It's not coincidence. Like, they know what they're doing. And if they had different players, they would have made the proper adjustments. I don't know if they would have won in this fashion, but they would have put their very best team forward. The very best that they could possibly do, they were going to do. And they have.
The math starts to get very hairy here, right? So your captain Gregors, Europe only needs 2.5 points to retain this. So your first man out for America tomorrow is who?
Bryson.
Because he's one of your best players.
First out in.
Yeah.
Just keep. The concept is get the crowd involved. I think I'd just start with Bryson. He's at least a top 2 player, and he seems to be your emotional leader. So I'd throw him out first.
Yeah, he's right. And then, okay, so then second has to be
Scottie.
Yeah, that's right. And then now here's the big question. Third has to be, because you have to win like all of these matches, obviously.
Yeah, do you go, like, at what point do you try to save? You basically can't. Do you just go 1 through 12, your order of best players? Do you put Patrick Cantlay next?
I think you have to. Yes. You cannot. There is no other way to do this other than win every single match. Bryson, Scottie, Cantlay, hell, Cam Young, Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Just there's just no other scenario in which you
Yeah.
in which you do.
It's some kind of order like that. I mean, ultimately, you're in trouble. So if you win the first 6 matches with those guys you just mentioned, you're in trouble behind that. You'd still be down.
Yeah, if you rattle off the first 6, you're still down.
Half your team goes and wins, you're losing 11.5, 10.5. There's no good answer. There's no good answer with this deficit.
Underdog is reporting, or I'm sure there's somebody else reported it. They're mostly a news aggregator. Viktor Hovland's getting an MRI tonight on the neck and will make a decision Sunday morning on his status for singles. He's a tough dude who I know wants to be out there, but I feel like if you're getting an MRI the night before Sunday singles, you're not playing at Sunday singles.
Do they have that in the team room?
I have the singles. They probably do. I have the groups. Wow. Okay. And wow. And wow. Wow. I have the groups.
Okay.
Mina, how can I get these to you, Mina? I'm gonna send this to you right now so we can get it up on the screen. It is not. God, I could have made bank on this. Bryson DeChambeau is not going out first.
Okay.
Scottie Scheffler is not going out first. Have we already? Am I adding this? Am I adding another list of things to my mistake list?
Yeah. Although at this point, I don't know if. Who is it?
All right, show it, Mina. Going off at 12:02 in match number 1, Cameron Young is leading the way against Justin Rose. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's Cameron Young would be in my top 6 for sure.
Okay, wow, brave.
This is the thing. Like Keegan has gone with a completely emotional strategy, and like let's get the crowd involved kind of idea. And I think he's really proud of Cameron Young, and he's saying, "Hey, go get that first. I believe in you to go get that first point." It's not what I would have done. It's probably not the right move, but I get it. It's not egregious in my opinion. What do you think? How has Cam Young been relative on this team? Has he been the third best player?
Oh, yeah.
Fourth?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, he's been great. I think he's either the second or the third best player.
Yeah,
quite honestly. This week, yes, this week.
Right.
Yeah, he's been awesome. Should have played first session out. Yeah, so Cam Young against Justin Rose. So Europe goes with like savvy vet out of the gate, can handle the pressure. There's no forcing this. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Match 2, still no Bryson, still no Scottie. Justin Thomas gets Tommy Fleetwood. So that could be pretty fun, but I'm again wondering why we're not seeing your best or your second best player.
Probably looking at the singles record. Justin Thomas is 3-0-1, I believe, in singles in the Ryder Cup. 3-0. He's only played 3 Ryder Cups. He's won all of his singles matches. Probably looking at that. That would be my guess on where Keegan's brain is.
Bryson against Matt Fitzpatrick in match number 3. Not sure. Actually, as we go down, it looks like Luke Donald is almost alternating like my number 1 guy, my number 12 guy, my number 2 guy, my number 11 guy, my number 3 guy, my number 10. You know what I mean? Kind of like.
Yeah. Well, if you're this is the hard thing. Do you try to predict what the other guy's going to do?
Well, I think if you do it, yeah, if you kind of randomize it a little bit, you get some really weird, like this. Like Bryson versus Fitzpatrick is weird.
Yes, and it's a hard one to predict. But he's playing great. Like Rosie's got to be really confident right now. Yes. We know Fleetwood. Fitzpatrick's got to be really confident right now. Rory, in the 4th match, is very confident right now.
Yeah, here's your marquee matchup. Match 4, Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. Which, the only problem I guess I have is this might be over by the time Scottie Scheffler in this match finishes. Like Scottie Scheffler might win this match, and the Ryder Cup might have already been decided by the time that happens.
Yeah, match 4.
Match 4. It's going to be a sick match, and actually I'm sure he's going to be the favorite. We'll see when the odds come out, but this is one of the most likely scenarios in which Scottie goes 0-5. Is he gets either Rory or Rahm or Fleetwood.
Did Keegan think Rory was going to lead off for Europe?
Yeah, they both out juked each other here.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
They thought it was going to be Bryson and Rory or whatever, and they said, okay, well, let's make sure we don't get that, and we'll just kind of adjust this a little bit. And they juked each other.
Maybe they say, hey, let's give the people something awesome. Where are you putting Rory? I'll put Scottie there. Deal. There's no way that happened. Keegan's still trying to win this thing. But highlight match. I'm glad we got it. I wish it meant something.
Yeah. Cantlay Ludwig in match 5. Xander Rahm in match 6. I wish Xander was playing a little bit better. That'd be pretty cool. And then we start getting down to the I don't want to say these are meaningless matches, but these are matches that will likely have less of an impact based on the final or the score going into this. So Spawn versus Straka, Henley versus Lowry, Ben Griffin versus Rasmus. Those guys both played very little this week. Morikawa versus Terrell Hatton, Sam Burns versus Robert McIntyre, and then the Europeans, smartly so, stick Viktor Hovland in the 12 position, which gives him the most time, 2:03 p.m. to be prepared, and also in a spot that is very, very unlikely to matter against Harris English. That's the rest of them, Greg.
That's got to be. I wonder if Harris English is the envelope guy.
So that's my question. So if Viktor withdraws, he can't be. They couldn't possibly know that because there would be no reason to open the envelope until he withdrew. So if Viktor withdraws, so whoever's in the, let's say Spawn's in the envelope, he gets the half a point, and English would go play Straka.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Now here's the thing. This is so stupid. Golf is so stupid. What if Viktor? This is a 2:03 tee time. What if Viktor withdraws at 2:00 after every other golfer is already out on the course? So then Harris English, even though he's not the envelope guy,
so withdraw. You can have the point.
Well, no, I still get half. Just Harris English now becomes the half a point guy.
I don't think so.
He has to withdraw before the session starts.
I don't think. Well, if the guy that's in the envelope is out there already, then it's a competitive. Now look, it's going to be well over. All right.
This is why the whole thing is so silly.
But it would, if this were close, if this were tied, and your last guy a minute before his tee time withdraws, the guy that's on 4 or might be on like 12, if your envelope guy was out early for some reason. I mean, in theory, your envelope guy could have had a blazing hot Ryder Cup.
Right. Which he did. JJ Spawn did.
Right? Like JJ Spawn's on the envelope and he plays great. And he's okay, let's move him up. We'll put him in the third match.
But see, if it were up to me, it'd be a magic envelope where if Viktor withdrew 2 minutes before his tee time, now the envelope transfers to whoever he's playing.
Right. But that changes the whole purpose of the envelope.
Which is why I'm sure we will find out. The envelope only, it has to be done before the session starts, or it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And if he withdraws after that,
it's a whole point.
Because the Ryder Cup's over already.
Yeah. I honestly, like, this might not make it to Sunday kickoff. It will. But there is a really good chance that Viktor does not have to hit a shot risk the neck, and it is already decided.
Yeah. Harris gets a point.
Yeah.
Good on you. But, Fleetwood's 4 up and Rose is 3 up, and it could go that way. Now, I think Cam Young can beat Justin Rose. I think Justin Thomas can beat Tommy Fleetwood, who's no doubt exhausted at this point. Bryson can beat Fitzpatrick. Scottie can beat Rory. Cantlay can beat Ludwig. Xander and Rahm, I probably would lean Rahm. But he could beat him. Like they could win all these matches. They're just not going. They're not going to. That's not how it works. They can win all 12 of these matches.
I don't think that's true, Max. Max says the U.S. will make the biggest comeback in the history of the Ryder Cup.
That's not going to happen.
I do not think that's going to happen. Trying to think how many of these matches the U.S. is going to be favored in.
It could be a lot.
Probably in match 1, Cam Young. Definitely in match 3, Bryson versus Fitzpatrick. Probably 4. Probably 5. Probably
7.
8 might be close. Let's just give it to the Europeans. Probably 9. Maybe 11. And there's probably no line. There's probably no line for match 12 because, so they might be favored in 7 out of 11.
Yeah, that's not enough.
It's not enough. Okay, well, listen, we made it until Sunday singles came out. We covered a lot of stuff tonight. Again, if you're listening, hit the like button, subscribe, make sure everything is in order because we do this quite a bit for every golf tournament. Anything else, Greg, that I could have possibly missed? This time tomorrow, we will be saying this team has won the Ryder Cup, but
Europe.
Yeah.
We'll have a lot more to get into tomorrow. I'll be thinking about this stuff even more all day and all night. So we'll save anything else for tomorrow.
Okay. Big thanks for now. Producer Mia, she does all the hard work behind the scenes. Greg DuCharme is available on Twitter at @TheRealGFD. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.